Hey guys, how's it going? It's Etanyos here. Welcome to episode number 8 of this NHL 24 Montreal Canadiens franchise mode here on my channel. Today we are starting off the 2025-26 season. We'll be getting through most of that season simulation today. I'm going to be doing the scouting as we go along, but really at this point we're just looking for another growth year from the Canadiens. Obviously we made the Stanley Cup semifinals, or the conference finals I guess, and lost to the Ottawa Senators. In the most previous episode, more so, it was going through the draft, landing some great picks, and let's get into some comments that kind of just touched on those topics and points. So the first comment here came from Scary Revenant saying, a few tips I've used in game: check players like Pronger's overall at the start of the season before signing, as he may have developed in the offseason to play top minutes in the A. And like someone else mentioned, if players want to re-sign, they will take less money. Also, Daigle develops into a solid number one, so great pick and francophone to boot. So what Scary Revenant's talking about here is our current kind of situation with the prospect pool more so than anything. So if we go into the system here, first off, we got a guy like Cullimore. He didn't grow in the offseason. Most of our guys, like I've noticed in 24 here at NHL 24, most guys don't grow a whole lot just as far as developing through the offseason. Like as you can see, Pronger's up to like a 75, which is pretty solid. Honestly, we probably could give him top minutes. We do have the extra roster space, so that would make sense. We can't do that with a guy like Clark Caswell currently, simply because he is still playing in Swift Current as a 19 turning 20-year-old. So yeah, he's actually off to a pretty hot start there in Swift Current, so that's good to see. But yeah, I think we do actually sign Pronger. That is a great comment there. Apart from that, he was also talking about Gabriel Daigle here, who's, 76 rated at 18 years old. He's going to take a little bit to develop, like a little bit of time to develop, but really it's going to be 1 year tops probably. He's already got a superstar ability and showstopper, which is awesome. He's a huge goalie, and he is going to be our future kind of number one goalie, because right now, we don't really have any crazy goalies. We have good goalies, but it's going to take a little bit more time for this team to really develop into the powerhouse that we're kind of expecting them to be. They're getting there, like they're getting close, but we just have a little bit more time before that really starts to kick in. So currently looking at our contract situations, we do have a couple probably overpaid players. A guy like Harvey Pinard is probably overpaid, unfortunately, at $4.5 million. It is only for 2 years, but at the same time, we have a guy like Kirby Dach coming up who's going to want a lot more money, as you can see. I mean, we do have the money in the cap space to actually deal with that, which is good. I am also just wondering who else is on expiring deals here. Joshua Waugh is going to be the other guy that we're going to have to kind of get a contract in there for. He's not a fabulous skater or anything necessarily, but you look at his defensive game, you look at his puck skills, he's a pretty good shooter, very good senses too. So yeah, he's only going to get better from here, especially at just 22 years old. So those are kind of our two key signings that we need to make this episode. We'll start off with Kirby Dach here, because he's not going to be crazy expensive. He's going to be a good chunk of a contract because he has actually put it in a good season or two here, and he's currently got 7 points in his first 7 games here, I believe, unless that was, let's see, we're at 10-10. I guess, yeah, we haven't quite properly started the next season yet, but yeah, 50 and then 66 points over the last 2 seasons. He's just been getting better and better, so it makes sense to pay him. He's 24 years old, got a lot of career ahead of him still. So yeah, let's figure out exactly how much this contract is going to come to, and he wants 5 years. If we go 8 years, it really doesn't increase. It actually decreases if we do that. So 0.85 times 7.6 million, we're going to go, it says 6.46 million. We'll just go 6.5 and see if he signs that, because if we get Kirby Dach for $6.5 million for the next 8 seasons until he's 32, that will be a steal of a deal. So that's the main one. We got to wait for Joshua Waugh. That's going to take a little bit more time for him to become eligible for us to sign. I don't know why the game does it that way, but it does. So yeah, and then apart from that, let's see who else. I mean, we've got Newhook on a $2.9 million deal for the next 2 years. That's crazy. So he's going to be another player that we're going to have to, splurge on, actually spend some money for. But yeah, apart from that, we kind of have our core set up here in Montreal for the most part. We're waiting for that, like, you know, 1 or 2 extra pieces, guys like David Reinbacher and such, to really develop into the top players we know they're going to be eventually. But really, our team's pretty well set up already. On to the next comment, because that was a bit of a ramble. Robert Weber said, loving this, the cup is coming soon enough. On a side note, I would release all players who state no when you want to re-sign them, who wouldn't want to be on this team. Yeah, great comment. That's exactly, I totally agree with that. So, after that, Hockey Visuals said, this team is looking scary. Slavkovsky looks like a god, and a potential move to do is to get K'Andre Miller. He's a young defenseman. He could really help out the second D pairing. So, interesting comment there. Again, I know K'Andre Miller keeps coming up. Everybody wants to see K'Andre Miller on this team. I could see it, but at the same time, you know, we already have a physical beast there in Arbor Xhekaj. Honestly, probably going to play the D pairing like that instead. Because yes, like, we could get a little bit better there. Honestly, I don't think it would really make much of a difference at this point, because we have a guy like David Reinbacher who's going to just continue to get better. We've got Lane Hutson, who's on a stupidly cheap contract, which, you know, was kind of me playing the system, but at the same time, we're not going to complain about that. That's going to be huge for this team's success in the future. So, we will go just take a look at K'Andre Miller, but let's find him. Is he in free agency? I don't think he is, but the other thing with K'Andre Miller, though, too, is he is a lefty, and we don't really need another lefty. Like, we have more than enough left defenders. And he'd probably cost us a decent chunk of money, or, like, decent chunk of assets to go out and get. That's the only thing that I'm looking at here. I'm like, well, we don't really need Miller. We've got Hudson and Gooley, and I don't really want to trade with the Rangers anyways, so what would K'Andre Miller cost us? Yeah, Pharrell, Xhekaj, and yeah, no, definitely not happening. Sorry. Okay. The next comment here came from Matthew Noel Valiant, saying, hey man, love your vids. Petrie is number 46 in Detroit now because his dad wore number 46 in baseball. So that was a really cool comment. Didn't know that was actually the case. So we could keep Petrie as number 46. I did actually adjust him back to 26, I think. But if 46 is available still, which it is, we might as well leave that there. I'm okay with that. So, yeah, that's a great and insightful comment there, Matthew. Thank you. The next comment here came from Vroom Vroom Skirt saying, Gooley should probably be the next A. He is not nicknamed Captain Canada for nothing, lol. Great video either way. I love your dedication to the numbers. So thank you for that comment. And yeah, we can definitely name Caden Gooley the next alternate captain as soon as Pacioretty retires or leaves this team. I mean, overall wise, Slavkovsky would probably be the guy. But at the same time, we are going with trying to be fairly realistic with this franchise mode too. I know we have made some pretty crazy picks, but at the same time, I guess we could, well, let's just check morale quickly before we actually assign anything. Because yeah, Slavkovsky does have that leadership role, which is really cool. It would be lovely if he actually ended up with Born Leader as one of his abilities, because Born Leader is amazing for every time a player scores, your entire team's energy level gets jacked up. So that would be nice, but probably pretty unlikely to happen as well. Next comment there from Martin Kolar said, please play Gooley in the top 4. I don't think that it's going to be an issue if the bottom pairing has negative chemistry. So yeah, we actually just went and switched that for that reason, because I was like, why is Gooley not in the top 4? He should easily be a top 4 defenseman. So the next comment here came from Berguio saying, you have a lot of money you could free up by moving Anderson, Gallagher, Yolanen, etc. Also, you don't have to offer money to those who are willing to stay in the system already. Usually you can go down 200 to 300K and they'll still accept. So yeah, that is, again, kind of preaching to that point again that, yeah, we don't have to overpay players necessarily. But at the same time, you know, we want to be safe still. I have overpaid a couple guys, like Yolanen is one of those guys. I won't dispute that at all. We definitely overpaid him for what he's worth. But at the same time, if he's going to be a depth player in this system for a while, and even if he can get up into like the top top 9, then that would be fine. I mean, he is already 26, so we'll see if that actually sticks or not. He seemed to perform pretty well, though. That's why I actually, that's actually why I paid him that much. All right, and that was pretty much it for comments. Other comments were more kind of conversationally based, based more around just my channel in general and things like that. So we are now going to continue on here. I believe the first step I have to do is a little bit more scouting. Oh no, okay, I guess I've got all the scouting ready to go. So we are good to just simulate ahead here, and we'll see how the calendar treats us, because this team simulated quite well last year. I actually need to just pull up the spreadsheet as to how well our team did last year. I'm trying to remember exactly what place we finished. It looks like we finished 6th place by the looks of it. Okay, so that's not bad at all. I do just want to go ahead and look at our team's kind of like overall ratings and things like that, because I guess I missed it last year. I missed our goalies at least, so 84 goaltending. Okay, that's pretty good. But yeah, this team is very solid. 98 offense, 89 defense, 84 goaltending. Like that's very solid for the NHL. And of course, we've got some amazing top end players there in Slavkovsky, Caulfield, and Suzuki. Those guys are all going to be great. The only other thing I do fill out with these spreadsheets as well is the AHL, so we'll have to go and look at that at some point here coming up. But the first simulation date that we have to go up to for my scouting, because we are focusing on the scouting still, that's kind of what's built this team up to this point so far, is drafting well. But it looks like November 10th, November 11th is kind of the date. Yeah, okay, November 11th. So Remembrance Day for, I know it's for Canadians. I don't know about the rest of the world if November 11th is the day, but anyways, let's start off by simulating up through this first month. I mean, I'm going to simulate up to this day here, but we start off, we get Kirby Dach. That is a huge factor to this team's success in the future. 8 years at $6.5 million. Like, oh, that's awesome. Like, Kirby Dach is saving us so much money there. Yeah, this is going to be good. This is going to be really good. All right, so that is a huge first step here, and we start off with a 1-0-1 record in our first 2 games. Not bad. We lose to the Flames in an overtime loss there, but that's okay. And Caulfield up to 2 points a game off the first 2 games. That's awesome. All right, so let me just check quickly the ratings down in the system here as to what our team's looking like there. And I'm sure this team's going to be pretty good. Okay, offense is lacking a little bit, but that's okay. And I am also realizing now, I don't think I put Pronger in the lineup, and that is going to be a big no-no if he's an elite player, so, which he is an elite player. We just need to actually get him rolling on one of these lines here. So let's pop out Laguerre, probably. Yeah, no, Pronger's got to be playing somewhere in the system at least, and we're going to try to get him. Yeah, let's put him up on like the first or second line. I'm going to put him on the first line, honestly. That should get him rolling as a 19-year-old. So, yeah, let's hopefully see some nice growth from Solomon Pronger this year. Apart from that, you know, we got guys like Norlinder or Engstrom down in the system who could develop. No guarantee that they will, but you never know. Kovacevic, probably just going to keep in the system. We'll see if Mailloux actually develops. That one's kind of questionable or up in the air. And yeah, we do have lots of good players down here in the system. So it's really just a matter of, okay, who wants to grow, who's going to grow kind of thing. So that's where we're currently at. We've got, you know, great subs in the NHL there too. So yeah, I think we're ready to continue on rock and roll here and see how the calendar treats us, because you never really know with the NHL simulation engine. So let's get to it. We're not going to look at any draft class or anything yet. Apparently Fleury got hurt and we lost to Vegas, but holy moly, we are rolling with the stoppages here to start off. But ooh, we lose Suzuki until November 25th. That's not great. Oh boy. Okay. So yeah, no, Josh Anderson will not be playing first line center. That doesn't make sense. He could play second line wing maybe. But yeah, that injury hurts our team for sure. So yeah, I guess we'll throw Kirby Dach up there for now. I know we got double power forwards and then Cole Caulfield, but yeah, that was not the start that we wanted this season. Was an injury to our captain. So was he at least he was over a point per game as well. So that one definitely stings. But let's keep rolling here. So no idea what happened in the Columbus game. And we are definitely losing this year. So 4-4-1, not a great spot to be, but honestly not horrible either. It could be worse. We're currently sitting 5th in our division. Again, we're like right in the mix there. So we'll simulate up to the 11th here and then kind of regroup and go from there. Of course, we're going to have Suzuki out of the lineup for an extended period of time. So it's not great, but looks like the the prospects this year are looking good. We get a Marc-Andre Fleury injury as well. So that's no fun. So we'll bring... Who are we bringing up? I guess we'll go Caden Primo for now, because he's kind of the most expendable out of our goalies at the moment. How's our top line doing? They're doing pretty good. Hey, 13 points for Kirby Dach is actually really sweet. Slavkovsky, obviously had that 96-point season last year, which is amazing, but still going to take a little bit more work to kind of get up to that pace again. It would help if Suzuki was in the lineup, which he is not. So, yeah, we'll run Allen and Primo for now, just finishing off this little stretch until Fleury comes back. But yeah, we are 7-7-1, so a losing record through our first 15 games. And yeah, we're going to have to pick it up a bit and actually get on a win streak here if we're going to continue and make the playoffs this year, because right now we are not in the playoff spot. We've got nobody else's draft picks this year either, so our draft picks are really up in the air for that. So that should be fun. Okay, so we're at the first scouting date here. I've got to just spam through my scouting. You guys kind of know how this stuff works at this point if you've been watching it all. But yeah, if we do this type of scouting, we get a much better report on each of these players by the end of the season. So yeah, currently we're on the skill assessment portion of the scouting, and it goes up till kind of like mid-January, and then from mid-January on, we're just doing potential and comparison scouting for the rest of the year. So yeah, it's always, I wouldn't say it's fun, but it's fun once you get to actually draft a couple players that are like amazing steals. That's why our Montreal team here is actually looking so good up to this point, is because, wow, this scout is an absolute G. Okay, we'll go up to the, 16th is fine, but that's why we've been able to get guys like Gabriel Daigle and Jeffrey Cullimore, however you say his name. I say Joffrey because of how it's spelled. It is spelled Joff, not Jeff, but you guys can debate on me with that in the comments. Joff. I say Joffrey because I always think Joffrey Lupul too, which is probably, if that one is actually spelled Joffrey, like Joffrey or Ery, however you say it or spell it. So now I gotta double check that I'm saying it or spelling it right. It's Joffrey, yeah. But man, Lupul is such an OG of the like early 2000s kind of hockey, like just one of those players where I'm like, oh man, he's so fun to watch and like the shootout and stuff like that. He's just such an entertaining player. So all right, I guess we're doing January 16th for most of our scouting here. That is all good with me though. All right, so as we get back to the calendar here, we are going to simulate the rest of November. We should get Suzuki back by then. But right now we're on pace for about 82 points. We need that number to go up. We hit a 3-game win streak, so that's not bad, but then we lose Petrie to concussion. Continue the win streak to 4 games, though. All right, not bad. We got rolling there by the end of that little stretch, so can't really complain too loudly about that. We'll get these lines just all laid out properly here now with the Anderson substitution. And yeah, that's going to be a -1 with the injury and everything else. How? Jake Allen's the one that's rolling right now. He's looking real good. So, I mean, Fleury wasn't doing great, honestly. I'm not saying we should bench Fleury, but, like, he was not playing like himself, that's for sure. So maybe he'll come back from the injury and be rolling a little better. 17 points in 20 games from Hudson's a really solid start to this season, too. He's got 6 goals as well already, like, in just 20 games. So he's on pace for 24 goals compared to 14 last season. That's pretty cool. So we'll see how he continues that. Reinbacher currently not scoring at all. Kind of expected, but he is playing with Hudson, too, so I was really hoping he'd be putting up a little bit more than 3 points in his first 20 games. Goulie's only got 8, so it's not like the rest of our defense is really scoring a whole bunch either, but yeah, 22 penalty minutes is also makes sense for Xhaka, because, yeah, who else is going to have that many penalty minutes? Like, Safkovsky's only got 2 penalty minutes. That's crazy. Normally, I would expect him to be a little bit more up there. That's kind of cool to see. I always find penalty minutes an interesting stat. Nothing on the Arizona game there. We keep getting offers for like 3rd round picks and stuff like that. Okay, so we get Fleury back. We're probably going to have to make a roster move here soon, but right now Jake Allen is our starter over Marc-Andre Fleury because Allen has actually been good through his first like 10 to 13 games or so. Primo was not good. He gave up a lot of goals, so we'll be sending him down here in just a moment. Left stick options, there we go. So yeah, we'll send Primo down. It's not like I don't think anybody's going to pick him up on waivers because he didn't play well anyways, so yeah, let's continue on here, though. I would love to see if this second line can kind of get rolling even more. I mean, I'm really impressed with Kirby Dach so far. He's over a point per game right now. Joshua Waugh's got 18 points in 22 games as a rookie, too. That is phenomenal. So, yeah, let's keep that rolling. That's probably why we got a win streak going here. And, okay, we do get Jeff Petrie back, too. Nice. We probably lost, honestly. Like, we probably lost that Arizona game, and it's just not even going to say. But, okay. What are we doing here? Calendar backed out. And yeah, look at that. We're not even, standing-wise, we're not even in a playoff spot still. We're on, like, a fringe playoff spot. But we are 12-10-1. It's not a fabulous record. It's an okay record. But yeah, this team's just struggling this year. The goaltending's probably the main issue there, more than anything. But yeah, let's finish off. Hold on, is this January here? No, this is December. Yeah, okay, so we'll simulate through all of January here too. Hopefully it goes well, because right now we need some wins. We went 6-4, yeah. We lost a stretch of games there, so that wasn't great. So let's pick it up, see if January treats us any better. And starting off, Elias Anderson gets injured. Great. Okay. I really am genuinely considering turning injuries down at this point now, because there's just been so many. Ooh, Minnesota, you want to take on more salary cap? Why, though? Why? I don't get that. I mean, I'll take that trade. Don't get me wrong. Josh Anderson has been a great Montreal Canadian, but if we're able to clear up a $5.5 million contract for the next 2 seasons for a guy that's, I mean, he was actually pretty good in the last little stretch. That's probably why they're trading for him, but for a guy that was fairly average overall throughout his time in Montreal, I do think, we did talk about that in the comments a bit, but I do think a move away from Josh Anderson, especially if we're getting a 2027 second rounder back in exchange for a 3rd and then a 6th this year, like, I'll take that all day. Okay, so we're going to accept this trade. I think it's a great trade, honestly. And yeah, let's do it. All right. So yeah, of course, some players aren't going to like that we trade away Josh Anderson, but we're doing business here. Ooh, Savard gets a separated shoulder. We continue to lose some games, and all right, Elias Anderson's back in the lineup. How is Pronger doing so far? Ooh, only 6 points. That's not overly spectacular. Okay. I was really hoping we'd get some slightly better development out of the AHL this year, but the team must not be doing very well right now. That's the only reason I can think we're looking at that current state with guys like Pronger and such. I mean, we are only a couple months in, but we need a couple more wins than that. Okay, can the calendar work here, please? Thank you. Okay, so currently we have a winning record, and we're sitting out of the playoffs. Great. Okay, well, welcome to the Atlantic when it's rolling. So, as we continue on there, 10-7 loss to the Devils. Oh my goodness, talk about a high-scoring game. 10 goals against. Oh my god, okay. Liam Foudy, yeah, we don't really need him. When was Mazar injured? He wasn't, exactly. So don't do that then. And, Slavkovsky's out with a sore shoulder for like a week and a half. Sore shoulder, he didn't even injure it properly. Oh my god. Are we really sitting with 37 points and dead last in the... Oh my god, okay, well... a roller coaster of emotions here. This team goes from conference final to apparently missing the playoffs. Oh boy. So I guess goaltending was the serious issue here at this point, because yeah, now we're 17, 16, and 3, which is essentially a 17 and 19 record, in spite of guys like Cole Caulfield putting up 46 points through the first 36 games. Like, this is just frustrating at this point. And yeah, it didn't help that Suzuki got injured too. It's just, this whole season has just been not a train wreck, but it has been pretty lopsided based on how things have gone. Like, Caulfield's right up there. He's in the top 6 in scoring. Why aren't we winning games? Because we don't have a team around him? Is that what's going on? Like, how has Ryan Nugent-Hopkins got that many points? That's crazy. I mean, Scheifele and Connor, sure, that makes sense. Those guys are both really good when they're playing together. Oh, Jake Getzel's on that line, too. That makes sense. Gensel, sorry for everybody who's going to be like, oh, you pronounced it wrong. Well, yes, I did. Technically, I pronounced it wrong there, yes. I don't think Joshua was going to catch Macklin Celebrini, though, because a 19-year-old Celebrini playing in the 25-26 season here is looking really good in LA. Demidov's looking pretty good, too. How about Tanner Howe? Oh, my goodness. Talk about a player that just took off potential-wise. Wow. How's Yzerman doing? Not spectacular. Yeah, okay, that was kind of expected because it is San Jose after all. Artyom Levshinov, though, in Arizona, that seems like a great fit to me. Sam Dickinson's looking real good in Calgary, too. Oh boy, okay, well, you know, initially I was thinking, oh, we're going to be trading for a goalie and trying to get the team, like, trying to make the team even better as far as being in a potential playoff spot goes. Apparently we are sellers still, so please tell me we got some good news on the progress front, at least as far as the reports go. Nothing amazing so far. Reinbacker's not really growing either, which is also a little rough. We've got a couple guys here that have started to grow a bit, but it's going to take more time, that's for sure. Don't tell me. Oh no, Daigle is not growing. He is... Oh my god. 13 wins in 31 games. He's got to go on some crazy, crazy winning streak if we're going to get any real development out of him this year, because right now Daigle is not looking... It's not looking good for Daigle. That's how I would describe it. So, yikes. Maxime Massey is having a great season right now. Like, he is over a point per game, and he's not growing either. I love the logic of this game. It makes no sense. So, okay, we're in a tough spot. Honestly, I think we're just gonna grind it out, see where our pick ends up, because right now we got to be sitting like probably 22nd, 23rd in the entire league right now. It's not a good spot. No, we're in 18th. We're in 18th, and we have a very good chance of not making it anywhere near the playoffs. So I really wish... Did we trade that Calgary pick, or did we use that Calgary pick? We had to have used that Calgary pick. I'm pretty sure we did. Yeah, I'm pretty much certain we used the Calgary pick that we had last year in 2025 to draft. I believe it would have been Gabriel Daigle, but this is a tough spot right now, guys. Like, I really don't know exactly where to go with this team. So I think what we're going to do is just extend a guy like Joshua Waugh, who's having a great season. Oh god, that is ridiculously cheap as well. I love that. What does he want? 4.125. Okay, so we are going to pay him. My 0.85 calculation says $3.5 million. We're going to go 3.75 just to be safe. I know you guys are going to be like, don't overpay. We're overpaying for an 8-year contract. Overpaying, if you want to call this overpaying. It's not overpaying when it's a guy like Joshua Waugh who's probably going to play in our top 6 for the next decade. And he's a 150th overall pick, and he's developed extremely nicely, and he's got 25 points in 36 games to start off his rookie season. Like, no, we're going to pay him more than what he's asking, essentially. But, yeah, only reason for that is because we know he's going to get better. So, hopefully he accepts that that contract here, because we need something to start rolling and going right for our team, because right now there isn't a whole lot. So we're going to sim the next 2 weeks or so here. We'll get Slavkovsky back from injury, so that's good. That'll help out a little bit. And then we'll simulate on here, I guess. We don't need Colton Sisson. Nice. We get Joshua Waugh for $3.75 million. That's crazy good. Okay, so that is a sweet contract. And we lose David Reinbacher to a broken nose out of everything. Bit of an interesting injury there, but okay. And all right. Doesn't look like we're really progressing here at all as a team, so I guess we'll get just. I'm just gonna keep simulating, guys. If things go bad, things go bad. We're just letting the simulation do its work, which we know is probably not going to end well in our favor most of the time. Not at least until this team is built up a little bit more. So yeah, we've kind of taken a step back. As I'm trying to remember which podcast, or I was listening to one of the podcasts, whether it was Steve Dangle or 32 Thoughts or somebody like that. One of those hockey podcasts, somebody, I believe it would have been Jeff Merrick probably, talked about how teams don't just progress and get one step better every single year. It's like a bunny hop forward, 2 bunny hops back, 2 bunny hops forward, 1 back, and you just like kind of leapfrog around because that's just how much parity there is in the league. And that's absolutely what we're experiencing this year. It's a down year for sure. We still have guys like Slavkovsky playing great hockey right now, but most of the team is kind of struggling, so that's okay. We're not always bound to have an amazing year in Montreal. Things are going fairly well. We are trending in the right direction. We just need a couple of our pieces to develop a little further. Cough, cough, David Reinbacher. But yeah, there's a couple of them where it's like, please just develop. Just turn into something good. Like Solomon Pronger, same thing. We could use a top 6 elite 2-way forward. That would be phenomenal. Yes, we just extended Joshua Wall, who very well might be the guy that fills that role. We're not certain yet. We don't have any certainty that Joshua Wall is going to be that guy. He might struggle with injuries over the next 3 years. He might decline in production and decline in ice time or something like we don't know exactly how everything's going to go. It's still up in the air based on the simulation engine. But we're up to the next scouting date, and we have now at least gotten ahead of Florida by 1 point in our division. Yeah, it's looking a little bleak in Montreal right now. Then again, we are also only, 2 wins off of a wild card spot at the same time? Like, things look really bad. They're not actually that bad. But certain guys in here, I'm wondering how many gems do we actually have? There's 2. Okay, so Nikita Ivanov looks like a great player. Esteban Redmond also looks like a pretty solid one. But again, we're not going to know for sure until we actually get the potential and comparisons done on most of these guys. So for now, we're just guessing as to how good players actually are, for the most part. There might be one semi-decently scouted player in here, maybe. Yeah, Chip Chura. All these guys are going to be 19 because we scouted them in previous seasons, which is why the scouting reports are coming up with actual potential. So yeah, okay, let's get to the next round of scouting, and then we'll actually be able to kind of tell where we're going with the draft class here coming up. Alright, so at this point we now get to just go as far through... hold on. Save this file, because again, this is all on recording, so it's all good. Alright. Okay, so now we get to simulate a little bit further ahead, simply based on the fact that we're done scouting up until the end of the regular season here. So, we'll simulate up to February, and we're going to be a middle of the pack, just below the middle of the pack team right now, because we are continuing to lose games. So yeah, it's gonna be tough to really advance at this point in the season at all. So don't really expect that from this team at all. And Savard is still injured. Is it because Fleury's? Yeah, Fleury's just tanking it right now. I mean, both goalies aren't playing great. I feel like we probably had hope when we actually had Primo in. Now at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Fleury's just like, yeah, I'm quitting, I'm done, retired. Yeah. 55 points in 51 games is not a good spot to be. So we'll simulate through February now, see how things go. And again, unless we put together an entire month worth of winning, yeah, it's not happening. It's not happening this year, unfortunately. But that's just part part of the growing pain, I guess. Oh, look at this. David Reinbacher lost all of his X factors. How does that happen? That's got to take some kind of special skill to actually do that. Yikes. Okay. So Reinbacher's getting demoted for now. We'll put Petrie with Hudson. Because, yeah, Reinbacher's just not... He hasn't been good enough. Straight up. There's no other way around that. He has not been good enough. So, remember how Hudson had 6 goals, or... Yeah, 6 goals in 20 games? Next 32 games, he scored once. One time. That... If you want to scream not good enough, that's not good enough right there. Especially on this power play, too. Like, come on. How do you not score on this power play? I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. Okay, so we won 1 game against Buffalo there, but, yeah. That was the first time we played the Bruins all season? Oh, boy. We're in for a rough go here. Yep. We might be looking at a lottery pick. Not a very good one, but still. This team is so bad, yet they're almost in a playoff spot still. I just don't get it. Like, yeah, sure, San Jose's horrible. They should be. We're not doing great either, but at the same time, we're still ahead of a handful of teams that I think are probably better teams than us. Like, the Islanders, Blue Jackets, like, we're ahead of the Hurricanes right now, and we're 6th in our division. That's crazy. Really, the playoff format and the way the NHL set up here does not benefit the Canadiens' current state at all. So we'll simulate through March. I don't think we're going to be making any trade deadline acquisitions here. There's just no point. Like, our team's right on the fringe there. We might get in, we might not. I just don't see the point of really giving up a lot of assets to try and make a move like this happen. As far as, like, getting a new goalie or something, we can look. But I just don't see that happening, so. There's not even any good goalies, really. It's Freddie Anderson. Which, I mean, hey, you know what? Let's see. Let's see what a Freddie Anderson deal would entail. Because he's 36, he's got 1 year left. He's a big goalie. What are we looking at, Caroline? What are we looking at? Because if he's cheap because he's old, then great. I wouldn't call that cheap. Yeah, no. None of these players and prospects are worth giving up, in my opinion. So, yeah, no, we will not be making a deal there at all. All right. Guys, I may have just stumbled across a fabulous opportunity here. I'm not set on it, but, like, this could be really good. Nashville's got no cap space. They've got a young goalie here, 23 years old, in Yaroslav Askarov, he hasn't played great, which is also why his value is probably so low. But if we could get an 11th overall picked goalie in exchange for our second round pick and Maxime Kalinin, who hasn't exactly been great either. He's been good, but no better than last year, really. So we haven't seen a ton of growth through him. So let's do this. Okay, so we're going to make this trade. We're going to go Kalinin in a second in exchange for Yaroslav Askarov. Simple as that. Boom. Okay. Big deal. Big deal there. And the best part is we didn't actually trade away any assets that are going to hurt us. We have tons of good goalies, but at the same time, all of these good goalies aren't great goalies. They're not Yaroslav Askarov. They're not guys like that. So that is a pretty big deal. I don't know if we can actually extend contracts anywhere past this at this point, but yeah, no, that Askarov move was absolutely something we needed to pull. I think that actually came from, that had to be quite a few episodes ago now. I'll probably highlight the clip or something, but yeah, that's crazy how it kind of comes full circle. So there you go. We make a big move here at the trade deadline. That's hopefully going to benefit our team into actually getting ahead here a little bit. So let's just stop up on this day and see, is there an opportunity for us to, are we able to sign Askarov up to an extension? We are indeed. What does he want? 2 years at no money? Or 8 years at 6.25? 8 years at 6.25 is a fabulous potential deal. We might do this. And at 6.25, we're actually only paying $5.325 million for an elite starting goalie, potentially, right? Like he's got the elite potential there. We're gonna go 5.35 and see if Askarov will sign that. Because if he does, oh my goodness, we have just locked in a starting goalie for now and the future, which is awesome. Yes, we probably have another one in Daigle there, which is awesome. But we'll see. At least signing Askarov gives Daigle the flexibility and timeline to just develop better, which is also awesome. So yeah, I'm super happy about that, and I think we just need to go and make a roster move now that will send. It's gotta be Fleury. Like, Fleury just has not been good enough, in my opinion. So let's go and move Flower down, because that's just how things work. That's just the fairness of this scale, because he's only won 11 out of 28 games, versus at least Allen's won over half of his games. So yeah, sorry, Flower, you're going to be moving down, and Askarov's going to be moving up. Okay. Okay, so Askarov will get number 30 as well, which is perfect, because that's what I was expecting him to wear. And then, ooh, Hudson up to an 89. Nice. Nice, that's really solid. Ryan Backer, on the other hand, is kind of just vibing out, chilling, doing whatever he wants, really. Okay, so maybe that Askarov move is enough to kind of push us over the edge and actually get us rolling towards the playoffs. Again, we're only 4 points out of a playoff spot right now, so I think it's doable. But at the same time, we did give up some decent assets to get to this point as well, where we have a number one goalie now. We didn't have a number one goalie before, so $5.35 million is going to land us Yaroslav Askarov for the next 8 seasons. That's crazy. Alright, so as we continue on here, we lose Petrie again to an injury, a concussion this time. I am going to take a peek at the draft class now because we should have some potentials coming back. And, alright, I always find it interesting to kind of just take a peek, see who's looking really good, who's not looking so good, things like that. Look at this, there's a high top 6 forward in Gogolev there, but also Nicholas Tokarski, again, another undersized player that's going to kind of fall to the mid-first round, but he's elite, right? So that's the thing, it's like he's an elite player, we could pursue that. Gabriel Rousseau, we could go and get potentially. Still waiting on Redmond there. Another elite there in Shirikov? Yeah, Shirikov is how you say it. Let's see, who else? Top 6 at 121, he is 20, so that's not great. There's another elite. Again, goalie. I think we have enough goalies. I'd really like some other positions. Bellamy, not bad. There's like no top 4 defensemen right now in here too. I'm realizing that. Oh boy, okay. There are some starting goalies a little bit later on, which isn't a bad thing. But, alright, let's continue on. Ooh, okay. Simulation is kind of, again, it's 50-50. It's all over the place. We don't know exactly where players are going to end up based on their performances, so. We got Petrie back, which is better than... It's just a bigger defenseman to go alongside Hudson, because Hudson's not huge. He's only 5'10", so. But how's Askarov doing? Maybe slowly starting to win games, even though Jake Allen's been the best goalie on this team this year, which is kind of funny because I didn't really expect him at like 35, 36 to be doing that well. 9-2, holy, we just smoked the Islanders. And we win 3 in a row. Okay, perfect. That was kind of what we needed. Pacioretty's on a roll. A lot of guys are on a roll. That's awesome. I think our defense is just still a little weak, honestly. Lose Harvey Pinard to a sore foot, and look at that, we're in the playoffs now. We get on a roll, we win a bunch of games, and we're in a wild card spot at least now. 92 points is very solid. That's exactly where I wanted us to be. I'm surprised it took us this long to get there, but this team does have the capabilities to do that. So now we lose, and as we finish off, MCL sprain for Reinbacher, that's really not great. Oh boy, okay. So we get Harvey Pinard back. Lots of guys are looking good on this team. Can't complain about that. The only thing I can kind of complain about is that one injury, man. Reinbacher's going to be out for a while. So he had a rough rookie season. It's okay, you can't always win them. But yeah, Allen and Askarov are actually going to be a fairly decent pairing going into the playoffs here this year. I think we stand a good chance with them. Or the simulation just butchers the viewing angle. Okay. And alright, we're going to finish with exactly 100 points this year. Not a horrible spot. Definitely could have gone a lot worse. And the worst team in the league is San Jose, followed up not very closely by Minnesota. The worst team in our division was the Red Wings with 83 points. We very well were on pace to end up there. If we hadn't gone on the big winning streak we did when we did, then that could have been us for sure. Nobody breaks 100 points this year, which is okay. Slavkovsky puts up 94 points in just 79 games as well. So yeah, very similar, very good season from Uri there again. Of course, Suzuki was injured. He probably could have put up 100 had he actually played the remaining... What did he miss? 14 games? Yeah, 14 games. Like, 14 games, that's 20-point potential production there, if he's not injured. How about Alex Newhook, man? He's going to be asking for a good chunk of money here this upcoming year. I mean, he had 83 points last year, too, so he's rolling in Montreal right now. He has not had a bad season yet, so There you go. Kirby Dach puts up 68, so a slight improvement from last year. He's going to be worth the $6.5 million that we're paying him here this upcoming year. Then Lane Hudson, he's getting there. 66 points this year. A little bit of a step up, more assists than last year, so can't really complain about that. And Joshua Waugh finishes with almost 60 points as a rookie. Can't complain about that at all for a late round pick from a few years back. More than a few, he's 22, so that's like 4 years back at this point. Yeah, 2020, 21? Yeah, so yeah, 5 years back. He's looking pretty good. So apart from that, for the entire league, Mark Scheifele finishes with 120 points. Followed up closely with his line mate Kyle Connor with 118, and then there was a bit of a drop-off there, and then Hughes, McKinnon, Svechnikov, Robertson, and of course Caulfield all kind of end up in that category. Jake Gensel, was playing on that top line there in Winnipeg too. Didn't have quite as many points, but oh my god, Cale Makar had 96 points. That's a little bit scary. Celebrini finished with an absurd 64 points in his 18 turning 19-year-old season, I guess. Yeah, is that right? No, it's his draft plus 1 year, I guess. Ahmed Jones, however you say his name, looked really good too. Tanner Howe is becoming a beast in New York. Oh my goodness, the Rangers got a steal there, 9th overall. God, that was in 24 as well, wasn't it? Yeah, it was 2024. Who did we pick in 2024? Yeah, we didn't have any top end picks, so it's not like we missed on. It's not like we missed on Tanner Howe. Like we just never had the pick there to make. So Emil Heineman actually had a pretty solid season too. 27 points, playing a bottom 6 role. Like you can't complain about that. Makar and Fox were kind of head and shoulders above the rest of the league, but Hudson's coming. Hudson's on his way. He's only 22, so definitely a little bit of room for him to grow still and actually become a top defender in this league. And then as far as your goal scorers go, Caulfield scores 58 goals this year. Obviously, he hasn't broken 60 yet, but he's tickling the 60 club there now. He's right there. Like he's gonna get it in the next season or two. And of course, he's just starting to hit his prime here, really, at 25 years old. So yeah, expect Caulfield to be breaking that big old 6-0 here soon enough. That would be pretty cool to see. Obviously, there's only a handful of guys that have ever done it. Ovechkin's done it multiple times, which is crazy to even think about. The fact that he scored 60 in his 3rd season in the league. Yeah. And then does it again a decade later, almost over a decade. No, over almost 2 decades later. It's a decade and a half. Man, Ovi is just a timeless legend. What's he at now? 900. He's going to break 1,000 goals in his career. 1,000 goals. That's absurd. That is absolutely absurd. I mean, Caulfield's on a decent pace, but he's got to play forever to try to get near 1,000 goals. Never mind 1,000 points. Yeah. Ovechkin's timeless, man. That's crazy. Playing 22 years after he got drafted, and he got to play those first couple of years too. It wasn't like Caulfield where it took him a couple of seasons to actually get rolling. He was drafted in 2019, right? So yeah, I don't think anybody breaks Ovechkin's goal scoring record maybe ever at that point, unless McDavid manages to just continue scoring at a ridiculous rate, which he kind of dropped off this season. Obviously had that 153 point season in 22-23, but then yeah, it's kind of slowed up a little bit here at least. So yeah, okay, so that's where we're currently at. How's Bedard looking? Yeah, he's high franchise at 20 years old. Okay, well, you never know. Bedsy could be one of the guys that's he scores 75 goals in a season or something like that. There's a chance of that. It's slim, but there's a chance of that. So there you have it. That is your regular season standings for the most part. Did everybody finish with 82 games? We're done? Yeah? Okay. Looks like it. So How did the standings fare? Where did we end up with 100 points? I would say probably about 9th. No, we finished 6th. Wow. 6th place. And look at how many teams are in our division. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of the 5 teams above us are in our division. Oh, that is ridiculous. Sorry, 3 out of the 5 teams. But then Florida's right there, too. Toronto missed the playoffs with 92 points. Oh, my God. This game makes no sense sometimes. All right. All right, guys. So that is where we are going to actually just wrap this video up today. On the next video, we will be looking at the 2026 NHL playoffs here, Stanley Cup playoffs, and we'll see how far the Montreal Canadiens can go. Obviously, we are going to get matched up against more than likely the Boston Bruins, because if we look at the entire league, the Rangers finished ahead of the Bruins simply on regulation and overtime wins, because that's just how the rules work. So yeah, Florida will be playing the Rangers. We will be getting the Boston Bruins in the first round. So that's going to be fun, but let's take a look at Boston's lineup as well, because I know they've got Pasternak, but I don't know who else is kind of their top-end guy. We're apparently a buyer now, so don't ask me how that's happened, but it has. I keep hitting edit lines instead of view lines. That's my bad. But yeah, our top line is obviously formidable at this point. Everybody talked about how that Montreal top line, if they drafted Slafkovsky, could be amazing. It's looking amazing. They still got Brad Marchand. No way he's still playing at 37, and he's 91 overall. Marchand's a beauty, man. He's like, as much as everybody hates him, he's a beauty. Like, he's so good at hockey. So, yeah, there you go. It's a pretty good looking top line, honestly. Pavel Zacha's really coming to his own on the Bruins, and then look at that top pairing. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, Boston's looking pretty scary right now, I gotta say. We're gonna have a tough time with this team, that's for sure. They're gonna have a tough time with our top line, but that's about it. So that's where we're at currently. I'll show you guys a little bit of progress and growth that this team experienced over this year. Hudson obviously grew the most out of pretty much any player. We did not get a lot of growth out of Ryan Backer, unfortunately. I was really hoping he would kind of jump up this year. Fleury regressed a little bit, which makes sense. Cullimore's up to a 79, so a good chance he makes the league within the next year. Gabriel Dagel's up to 78 right now, so, you know, certain guys are starting to climb there a little bit. Owen Beck hasn't really developed the way I thought he was going to. He put up 61 points this year with Laval and just got nothing to show for it, really, apart from a little bit of growth. So that's always frustrating when that happens, but that is what it is. Pronger didn't really grow. Caswell didn't really grow. We got like no growth from like Maxime Massey, which is really unfortunate because I was hoping he would kind of take off here this year. He put up great numbers, like 74 points in 58 games. He's great, but there's no growth to show for it. I don't understand why. I guess it's because he's playing against competition that's too easy for him, maybe. James Gweet has actually turned out to be quite the player here, too, putting up 74 points in 58 games. And he's up to a 74 overall at 19, so there's a couple players here and there that it's like, okay, they could actually be good, but we'll see. So that is where we're going to wrap this one up. If you guys have any comments, concerns, or anything regarding heading into the playoffs here, make sure to leave those down in the comments below. If you see any players you think we need to draft or like a certain position that we're kind of weak on in our team right now, I don't think we really have any super glaring weaknesses. I think defense is probably like top-end defenders, kind of the one thing we're still on the fence about, but we do have the prospects that could develop. But yeah, let me know all your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. I'll try to feature as many of them as possible in the next episode. And of course, show your support with a like, subscription, and all that good stuff. But that is going to be it for me. This is Etanyos signing out, and until next time.